The first time I stepped into the glass tower that housed Blackwood Enterprises, I felt like I didn't belong. The building was sleek, modern, and intimidating, much like the man who owned it, Damian Blackwood, my new boss. I had landed the job as his executive assistant after months of searching. My background wasn't impressive, but I was hardworking, determined, and desperate. Rent was overdue, bills were piling up, and my mother's medical expenses weren't forgiving. This opportunity wasn't just a job, it was survival. When I entered the office for my first day, I had no idea that the man sitting behind that mahogany desk would change my life forever. "Miss Carter?" His voice was smooth, deep, commanding. "Yes, Mr. Blackwood." I swallowed hard, my palms clammy as I clutched my portfolio. He stood up slowly, walking toward me. He wasn't just handsome, he was dangerously handsome. Tall, broad-shouldered, with piercing gray eyes that seemed to see through me. His black tailored suit fit him perfectly, his dark hair combed neatly, but a few strands rebelliously fell over his forehead. "You're on time," he said with a faint smirk. "That's rare in this office. I like that." I exhaled a breath I didn't realize I was holding. For the first few weeks, I buried myself in work. Scheduling meetings, answering calls, managing endless emails. He was demanding, but I admired his precision. Everything had to be perfect, and nothing less was acceptable. But then, the lines began to blur. It started with small things. The way his gaze lingered on me when he thought I wasn't looking. The way his hand brushed against mine when passing papers. The way he leaned close, his breath warm against my ear as he dictated. "Stay late tonight," he said one evening, his tone not requesting, but ordering. I froze. Late? For what? He leaned back in his chair, studying me with those piercing eyes. "I need someone I can trust, someone who won't make mistakes. Do you think you're that person, Miss Carter?" My throat tightened. "Yes, Mr. Blackwood." Hours later, the office was empty except for the two of us. The city lights twinkled through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I worked quietly, typing notes he dictated, but I couldn't ignore how close he was standing behind me, watching every move. "You're tense," he murmured, his voice low. "Relax. You're doing well." The compliment should have soothed me, but instead it made my pulse race. I told myself it was just work, just a job. He was my boss, nothing more. But then came the first real test. It was during a business dinner with clients. He asked me to accompany him, saying he needed someone, sharp to keep track of details. I wore my best black dress, professional but fitted. Throughout the evening, he kept his hand at the small of my back, guiding me, almost claiming me. His touch was firm, possessive. Every time our eyes met, I felt something unspoken pass between us. When we returned to the office afterward, I tried to excuse myself. "Good night, Mr. Blackwood." But he stopped me. "Wait." His voice was soft but commanding. "Come inside." I hesitated but followed him into his office. He poured himself a glass of whiskey, then another. For me. I didn't drink, but I held the glass nervously. "You handled yourself well tonight," he said, loosening his tie. "You impressed me." "Thank you, sir," I whispered. Then came the moment that changed everything. He stepped closer, his hand brushing against mine as he took the untouched glass away. "You don't drink?" I shook my head. "Good. Keeps you sharp." His lips curved into the faintest smile. Then his tone shifted, low, almost dangerous. "You know, Miss Carter, I expect loyalty, absolute loyalty. Do you understand?" "Yes." My voice was barely audible. "Good," he murmured, his eyes lingering on my lips before pulling away abruptly. "You can go." That night, I couldn't sleep. His presence haunted me. Was I imagining it? Was this a game he played with all his employees? But the next day confirmed it wasn't just in my head. He started testing me in subtle ways, asking me to accompany him everywhere, to keep secrets from others, to stay late, often until midnight. He trusted me with documents no one else saw. And then the whispers started. "You know what they say about Mr. Blackwood and his assistants," one of the other employees said with a knowing smirk. I forced a laugh, but my heart pounded. That afternoon, as if sensing my thoughts, Damien appeared at my desk. "Join me for lunch," he said, not asked. At the restaurant, he leaned across the table, his gray eyes locking onto mine. "Don't pay attention to rumors. People talk because they envy." I swallowed. "Rumors?" He smirked. "About me, about you, about what they think we are." My cheeks flushed. "We're not." His gaze silenced me. "Not yet," he murmured, almost to himself. From that moment, everything changed. I tried to fight it, tried to keep things professional, but the magnetic pull between us only grew stronger. His intensity consumed me. Every time he stood close, every time his hand brushed against mine, every time his voice dipped lower when speaking only to me, I fell deeper. But with attraction came danger, because I wasn't the only one who noticed. One evening, as I gathered my things, his ex-girlfriend, Isabella, a striking woman with fiery red hair, stormed into the office. "I see you found another one," she spat at Damien, her eyes cutting toward me. "She won't last long either." I froze, shocked. Damien's jaw tightened. "Get out, Isabella," but she laughed bitterly, her gaze on me. "Be careful, sweetheart. My boss doesn't just want work from his assistants, he wants everything, and when he's done, he'll crush you." Her words echoed in my mind long after she left. That night, as Damien walked me to the elevator, I finally asked the question burning inside me. "What does she mean, Mr. Blackwood?" He paused, his eyes dark. Then, instead of answering, he leaned closer. So close I could feel his breath. "She's jealous," he whispered. "And she's right about one thing, Miss Carter." My heart pounded. "What's that?" His lips curved into a dangerous smile. "I do want more than just work. From you." And in that moment, I knew my life was about to change forever. After that night, there was no denying it anymore. Damien Blackwood wasn't just my boss. He was a storm I had willingly stepped into, and now there was no way out without being swept away. The next morning, when I walked into the office, his eyes immediately found mine. The room was full of employees, but it felt like only the two of us existed. "Miss Carter," he said smoothly, "my office. Now." The whispers started instantly. My heels clicked against the marble floor as I followed him in, closing the door behind me. He didn't waste time. "You asked me what I wanted." His voice was low, firm. "The answer is simple. Loyalty, discretion, and you." My breath caught. "Mr. Blackwood, Damien." His tone was sharp. "When we're alone, you call me Damien." I hesitated, my pulse racing. "Damien." His lips curved into that faint, dangerous smile. "Good." For the next few weeks, our relationship became a dance of temptation and restraint. He never crossed a line in public, but behind closed doors, the tension was unbearable. His hand would linger too long on mine. He would stand so close behind me. I could feel the heat radiating from his body. One late evening, as I was finishing paperwork, he approached my desk. "You've been working hard," he said softly, sliding a folder onto my desk. "Come with me." "Where?" "You'll see." I followed him out of the office and into his private elevator. My heart pounded as the doors closed, trapping us inside. The confined space made the air thick with electricity. He leaned against the wall, his eyes fixed on me. "You trust me, don't you?" he asked. "Yes," I whispered, though part of me wasn't sure if it was the truth, or if I simply wanted it to be. When the doors opened, we stepped onto the rooftop. The city glittered beneath us, a sea of light stretching endlessly. "It's beautiful," I breathed. He stood beside me, his gaze not on the view, but on me. "Not as beautiful as you." Before I could respond, his hand brushed against mine. I should have pulled away. I should have reminded him he was my boss. But instead, I let it happen. His fingers laced through mine, firm, possessive. The world seemed to fall away. Then, his voice cut through the silence. "I want you, Miss Carter. But if you give yourself to me, understand this. I don't share. You'll belong to me. Completely." My chest tightened. His words were a warning and a promise all at once. My voice faltered. "I don't know if I can—" "You can," he interrupted. His eyes burned with intensity. "And you will." For a moment, I thought he might kiss me. The air between us vibrated with unspoken desire. But then, as if sensing my hesitation, he stepped back. "Think about it," he said softly. "But know this. If you step into my world, there's no turning back." That night I tossed and turned in bed, torn between fear and longing. Part of me wanted to run. The other part, the stronger part, wanted to surrender. The next morning, the office was buzzing with tension. A rumor had spread that a rival company was trying to take down Blackwood Enterprises. Whispers of betrayal, leaked documents, and insider threats filled the halls. Damien looked furious during the executive meeting, his jaw clenched, his tone sharp. "Someone in this company is feeding information to our competitors," he said coldly, "and I will find out who." After the meeting, he pulled me aside. "You're the only one I trust, Miss Carter. I need you to help me." The weight of his words sank in. He wasn't just testing me professionally anymore. He was binding me to him personally. "Of course," I said. "What do you need me to do?" His eyes softened for the briefest second. "Stay by my side." From that day forward, I was more than his assistant. I was his shadow. I went with him to meetings, kept his secrets, even intercepted phone calls, meant for him. The more I proved myself, the more he let me in. But with trust came danger. One night, after another long day, I entered his office to drop off files, only to find him not alone. Isabella, the red-haired ex-girlfriend, was leaning against his desk, her lips curved into a mocking smile when she saw me. "Oh, the little assistant. Do you know what he does to women like you?" Damien's eyes darkened. "Leave, Isabella." "But—" She ignored him, stepping closer to me. "He breaks them, uses them until they're nothing. Don't think you're special. I was once in your shoes." My heart twisted. I didn't want to believe her, but doubt gnawed at me. Damien finally grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the door. "Get out before I make you regret it." Her laugh echoed as she left. "You can't hide forever, Damien. One day she'll see the truth." The silence that followed was suffocating. I turned to him, my voice trembling. "Is she right? Am I just another—" His eyes blazed as he closed the distance between us in 2 strides. "No!" His voice was fierce, almost desperate. "You're not like anyone else." And then, before I could stop him, his lips were on mine. The kiss was fire and fury, consuming and demanding. My hands trembled as I gripped his suit, torn between resistance and surrender. His hand slid to my waist, pulling me against him though he couldn't bear the distance. When he finally pulled away, his forehead rested against mine. His breathing was ragged, his control slipping. "You drive me insane," he whispered. "I told myself I wouldn't cross that line, but I can't stay away from you anymore." My heart thundered. "Damien, this is wrong. You're my boss." His Hand cupped my face, his thumb brushing my cheek. Then quit. Quit tomorrow. Walk away from the job. But don't walk away from me. His words shook me to my core. Could I really give up everything? My career, my independence, for him? But before I could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression darkening. Another leak, he muttered, fury flashing in his eyes. Someone is trying to destroy me. He looked back at me, his jaw tight. And if they can't get to me, they'll come for you. A chill ran down my spine. That night, he insisted on driving me home. His black luxury car glided through the streets, his hand gripping the wheel tightly. "I'll protect you," he said suddenly, his voice low, determined, no matter what it takes. When we reached my apartment, he walked me to the door. The street was quiet, too quiet. And then I saw it. An envelope taped to my door. I froze, my blood running cold. Damien ripped it down, opening it with one hand. Inside was a single piece of paper with bold, threatening words. "Stay away from him, or pay the price." My heart pounded as Damien crumpled the note in his fist, his face a mask of rage. "They want a war?" he muttered. "Fine. They'll get one." Then his eyes softened as he looked at me. "But you're mine to protect." And in that moment, despite the fear, despite the danger, I realized the truth. I wasn't just his assistant anymore. I was his weakness, and that terrified me more than anything. The threatening note changed everything. For days, I lived in a constant state of unease. Damien increased security at the office and even insisted on sending a car to pick me up for work. At first, I resisted. It felt like too much, but his gray eyes left no room for argument. "I told you," he said firmly, "you're mine to protect." His words should have reassured me, but instead they tangled my heart in knots. I had become more than his assistant, more than just an employee. I was caught between desire and danger, loyalty and fear. And the deeper I fell for him, the more I realized someone wanted to rip us apart. The pressure mounts. The following week was chaos. Damien's enemies were getting bolder. Confidential. Files leaked to the press. Contracts collapsed at the last minute, and whispers of betrayal grew louder. "Someone inside this company is feeding them information," he muttered one night, pacing his office like a caged lion. His tie was loosened, his sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms tense with frustration. I sat quietly, afraid to speak, afraid to break his fragile composure. Then, suddenly, he turned to me. "I need you, Miss Carter, not just as my assistant, as my partner. Will you stand by me?" My throat tightened. "Yes," I whispered. "I will." The relief in his eyes was fleeting, but real. He reached for my hand, squeezing it as though drawing strength from me. For the first time, I saw not just the ruthless billionaire, but the man beneath. A man who trusted me with his vulnerability. But that trust was about to be shattered. The trap 2 days later, I received a message on my personal phone. No number, just words. "Meet me at the rooftop tonight. If you want the truth about your boss." My heart pounded as I stared at the screen. Was it a trap? A warning? Or the answers I was too afraid to ask Damien directly? I should have told him. I should have deleted it. But curiosity burned inside me. That night, after the office emptied, I made my way to the rooftop where Damien had once held my hand. The city lights glimmered below, but the place felt colder, sharper, dangerous. And then she appeared, Isabella. Her red hair glowed like fire under the city lights, her lips twisted in a bitter smile. "You came," she said mockingly. "How predictable." "What do you want?" I demanded, my voice trembling. "The truth." She stepped closer, her heels clicking against the concrete. "Damien isn't who you think he is. He's using you, just like he used me. He'll make you feel special, irreplaceable, until he doesn't need you anymore. Then he'll throw you away. I shook my head. You're lying. He cares about me. Her laugh was sharp. Cares? Darling, he only cares about control. And you're just his latest obsession. My chest tightened, fear and doubt clawing at me. But before I could answer, the rooftop door burst open. Damien stormed out, fury radiating from him. Isabella, he growled. I warned you, she smirked. Oh, Damien, still protecting your toys, I see. Leave, he snapped, stepping protectively in front of me. Now. But instead of leaving, she pulled something from her purse, a flash drive. This, she said, holding it up, contains every dirty little secret of Blackwood Enterprises. The deals, the betrayals, the cover-ups. One press of a button and it goes to the media. My blood ran cold. Damien's jaw tightened. You wouldn't dare. Her smile widened. Wouldn't I? Unless, of course, you give me what I want. And, what's that? Her eyes flicked to me. Her gone! Out of your life! Out of your company! Out of your bed! The words hit me like a slap. My stomach twisted. Damien's voice was low, lethal. That will never happen! For a moment, the rooftop was silent, the tension unbearable. Then, in a blur of movement, Damien lunged, grabbing the flash drive from her hand. Isabella screamed, clawing at him, but he shoved her back. She stumbled, teetering dangerously close, to the edge. My heart stopped. Stop! I cried, rushing forward. Damien caught her arm before she could fall. His grip was iron, his jaw clenched. Get out of my sight, Isabella, and if you ever come near her again, you won't get another. Warning! He pulled her back to safety, then shoved her toward the door. She shot me one last venomous glare before disappearing into the stairwell. The rooftop fell silent again, except for the sound of my ragged breathing. Damien turned to me, his eyes dark, intense. Are you hurt? No, I whispered. But my heart was. The breaking point. That night, I couldn't sleep. Isabella's words echoed in my mind. He'll use you until he doesn't need you anymore. I wanted to believe Damien was different with me, that I wasn't just another assistant, another conquest. But doubt gnawed at me, no matter how tightly. I tried to shut it out. The next morning, I confronted him in his office. Tell me the truth, I said, my voice shaking. What am I to you? Am I just another distraction? He looked at me as though I had slapped him. You think I'd risk everything for a distraction? His voice was low, almost wounded. Do you think I'd put your life in danger, fight to protect you, if you meant nothing to me? Tears stung my eyes. Then what am I, Damien? He stepped closer, his hand cupping my face. His gray eyes burned into mine. You're mine, he whispered fiercely. The only one who's ever mattered. The only one I can't let go of. I wanted just an assistant, but you became so much more. My heart ached, torn between fear and love, and then he kissed me. This kiss wasn't fire and fury. It was desperation, raw and unguarded. His lips trembled against mine, his hands clutching me as though he was afraid I might disappear. For the first time, I felt his walls crack, his control shatter, and I knew then, whatever the danger, whatever the cost, I couldn't walk away. The final betrayal, but the war wasn't over. A week later, the traitor inside the company was finally revealed. It wasn't Isabella. It was someone closer. Mr. Hughes, Damien's right-hand executive, the man he had trusted for years. Damien discovered him in a secret meeting with a rival company, signing away contracts and leaking documents. When Damien confronted him, the betrayal cut deep. You were like family, Damien growled, his fists clenched. Hughes smirked. Family? You think loyalty buys loyalty? You've built your empire on lies, Damien. It was only a matter of time before someone brought you down. I watched, frozen, as Damien lunged at him. Security pulled them apart, dragging Hughes out of the office. But the damage was done. Contracts were lost, investors fled, and rumors swirled that Blackwood Enterprises was crumbling. Through it all, Damien grew quieter, harder. But when we were alone, he let his guard down only for me. "I've lost everything before," he said one night, his head resting against mine. "But if I lose you, I won't survive it." The choice. Finally, the day came when Damien gave me the choice. "You can walk away," he said softly, his hands cradling mine. "I won't stop you. I've dragged you into danger, into my chaos. If you leave now, you'll be safe." Tears filled my eyes. "And if I stay?" His lips brushed my forehead. "Then you're mine, completely. No more hiding, no more running, just us, no matter the cost." My heart knew the answer before my lips spoke it. "I'm not going anywhere." His gray eyes softened, and for the first time, Damien Blackwood, ruthless billionaire, feared boss, smiled. Truly smiled. And when he kissed me, it wasn't a demand, or a test, or a game. It was love, dangerous, all-consuming love. Epilogue months later, Blackwood Enterprises survived the storm. Damien rebuilt his empire, stronger than before, with me by his side, not just as his assistant, but as his partner in every sense. The whispers in the office never stopped, but I no longer cared. I had seen the man behind the power. The man who had nearly lost everything but held on to me. And though Isabella's warning still echoed in my memory, I knew the truth. Yes, my boss had wanted more than work from me. But in the end, he gave me more than I ever imagined. His heart.